Welcome to the first and probably the last episode of Hanging in My Tree. This episode will explore the interesting life of my great-great-grandfather, Cecil Henry Lange, and some of the trouble we know and suspect that he got into. Let's get some of the facts out of the way. Cecil Henry Lange was born in Footscray Victoria on the 18th of March 1890 to Isabella Grace Lange, whose maiden name was Florence, and Henry Peter Christopher Lange, a very interesting man in his own right. He had three siblings, Vera Grace Lange, Louis Otto Lange, and a half-sibling, Nancy Charlotte Lange. He also had three children who have now all passed: Roy Keith Lange, Essie Irene Lange, and Alan Frederick Lange. In 1892, when Cecil was 5 years of age, Cecil's sister Vera passed away, aged only 3 years of age at the time. His brother Louis was born in 1898, when Cecil was 8 years of age. The family lived in Footscray in Victoria at 21 Creswick Street. There is a photograph from Google Earth of what the residence looks like now. At some point on or before 1901, the family moved to New South Wales. In 1901, when Cecil was 11 years of age, he began to work at his father's workplace, the Federal Nut and Bolt Works Limited at Marrickville, who advertised on their letterhead that they manufactured every description of bolts, nuts, rivets, spikes. He worked there until at least 1905. There is a reference from Fred Osborne, secretary of the Federal Nut and Bolt Factory. The reference, perhaps a little ironically when you know a little bit more about Cecil, reads, "The bearer Cecil Lange has been continuously employed for us for 4 years, the latter year as our packer. We have always found him to be careful and strictly honest, and can safely recommend him for any place of trust." I hold the original of this and a number of other references for Cecil. Cecil attended school at Newtown. I have an original reference from his acting headmaster dated the 11th of May 1909 stating, "I hereby certify that Cecil Lange attended this school for a period of 4 years, during which time he showed himself to be an honest and straightforward lad, anxious to carry out the wishes of his teachers and always eager to do his schoolwork." Cecil began working for railroads on a 6-month probation on the 4th of May 1909. He was originally employed as a cleaner working at Newtown Station. I was able to locate a copy of his employment records online as he was a government employee. In 1911, he was transferred to the Loco Railways at Eveleigh Station, which is now Redfern Station in Sydney. The Eveleigh Railway Yards were located immediately southwest of the station. According to Pocket Oz, Pocket Guide to Sydney, construction of the railway yards commenced in the 1880s and were over 60 acres. Originally, the workshop serviced and repaired the New South Wales trains, but in 1908, Eveleigh began manufacturing steam locomotives. The site employed over 3,000 people. I have a number of Cecil's old railway worker books, including his examination guides with handwritten notes. By 1913, he was employed as a fireman, still working on the railroads at Eveleigh. He was living at 500 Unwins Bridge Road, Tempe. In 1917, Cecil's employment records show that he was involved in the Great Strike of 1917. According to the Museum of History New South Wales, on the 2nd of August 1917, a general strike began in the Avonlea and Randwick Rail workshops. I've taken some screenshots from the National Film Archive regarding the strike. The strike was over the introduction of a card system to record what an employee was doing and how fast a job was being undertaken. The strike spread to other industries, including coal miners, wharfies, and around 100,000 workers were on strike until September 1917. It is considered one of Australia's largest industrial conflicts. We know that Cecil took part in the strike because on Cecil's railway work card, it shows that Cecil was dismissed by proclamation, left work on strike. On the 31st of October 1917, Cecil married Laura Alberta Sharman. The wedding was in the Ellesmere Presbyterian Church in Tasmania. There is an article in the Examiner newspaper from Launceston in Tasmania which stated, "The bride wore a simple frock of ivory crepe de chine over silk, the bodice made pinafore style over a shadow lace blouse. Mr. L. Farquhar was the best man. Laura's present to Cecil was a set of silverback military brushes. Cecil's gift to Laura was a cheque. The couple would honeymoon in the Blue Mountains and live in Thirroul." In 1917, Cecil moved to the Thirroul station in New South Wales. Thirroul was the major locomotive department on the Illawarra train line. The Thirroul Railway Depot opened in 1917 and closed in 1965. Cecil's son, my grandfather, Roy, was born in Bulli, New South Wales in 1919, and Essie was also born in Bulli in 1921. By 1920, his mother sought separation from his father due to his father's infidelity. In 1923, Cecil was living in Thirroul. This is a photocopy of an original photograph of Cecil outside of his home in Thirroul with his car. Alan was born in this year whilst the family were residing in Thirroul. An extract from the New South Wales Police Gazette shows that on the 10th of December 1923, Cecil Lange of Fairholme South Coast Road, Thirroul, reported stolen and missing a 9-carat gold expanding wristlet watch, F&W Stewart, Launceston on the dial, a gent's gold band ring, Cecil thereon, a pair of 9-carat gold heart and dumbbell sleeve links, CL thereon, a 9-carat circle brooch set with rubies and pearls, some stones missing, and an imitation gold curb link Albert. On 11 April 1924, there was an article in the Illawarra Mercury that at Bulli Small Claims Court, Cecil commenced proceedings against a tenant, James Whitfield, to recover rent in the sum of £8, 1 shilling and 6 pennies. The tenant said that he had always been prepared to pay his rent, but it had not been called for. He admitted his liability to £7. Cecil also claimed damage to the property. Cecil was successful in obtaining rent but not damage. Mr. Whitfield was ordered to pay 10 shillings a week until the amount was paid. In the same article, it was reported that Francis Wright claimed £6, 10 shillings from Cecil for the cost of painting 3 rooms and a veranda of a house of Cecil's in Thirroul. Cecil stated that the agreement was that it would cost £5 for painting the 3 rooms, £1 for the painting of the veranda, and 10 shilling for fixing window. Cecil stated the painting had not been completed and he would pay once the job was complete. Mr. Wright said the painting was completed and Cecil was ordered to pay £6, 10 shilling, with 8 shilling costs of the court. In 1925, Cecil's employment records show that he was employed at Clyde Station. In 1927, he moved to Temora Station near Griffith, where he was employed both as an engine driver and a fireman. By 1930, the family had moved to Griffiths at Yamble Street, Griffiths, New South Wales. In 1935, there are 2 newspaper articles regarding an appeal by Cecil in the Noranda, Argus and Riverina Advertiser on the 19th and 22nd of November 1935. The case was heard in the Quarter Sessions before His Honour Judge Coyle. Cecil was appealing against his conviction from the Griffiths Police Court from stealing 22 sleepers, which were the property of the Railway Department. It was alleged that on 4 September that Cecil, while employed as a driver on the railways, was approached by Detective Baxter when he slowed on a special train some distance from the Griffiths railway station. The detective saw 22 old railway sleepers on the engine. When asked who owned them, Cecil said they were his. When the detective said he had not paid for them, Cecil said that he usually paid for the sleepers the following morning. Cecil said he did not intend to steal the sleepers. He intended to pay for them the following morning as he had done previously. Cecil's lawyer admitted that he had broken departmental regulations by putting the sleepers on the engine and by taking them before paying for them, but he did not intend to steal them. The appeal was dismissed. The alleged theft of the railway sleepers is also noted in Cecil's page 2 and page 3 of his employment records. On 8 November 1935, he was dismissed after alleged to have stolen sleepers. That the appeal was disallowed, punishment was to be suspended from duty without pay from 18 September 1835 until 15 December 1935 and to restore him to his former grade and rate of pay. In 1936, the couple lived at 17 Station Street, Griffith. In 1937, Cecil moved to the Enfield railway station as a fireman in the locomotive department. The Enfield yard had 3 roundhouses. Cecil was employed as a driver and shunting driver. The 1937 and 1939 electoral rolls show that Cecil and Laura lived at 9 Buira Avenue, Enfield. The Stratfield Heritage Site has a story at Hallicon 9 Bawira Avenue, Stratfield South, Enfield. It was a brick interwar California bungalow with a terracotta roof. In 1942, Cecil and Laura celebrated their silver wedding anniversary. On 17 July 1945, Cecil was injured at work at Enfield train station. This was reported in the Sydney Morning Herald as follows: railway man's leg crushed. Charles Lange, should be Cecil Lange, 55, of Saxon Street, Campsie, was struck by a train whilst working at Enfield Railway Yards yesterday, and his left leg was crushed. Western Suburbs ambulance took him to Western Suburbs Hospital, where amputation was found necessary. It was also reported in his employment records his leg was amputated above the knee and was fitted with an artificial limb. He was promoted to duty clerk, possibly, from 18 February 1947 and a machinist of rolling stock at the Chullora station on the 29th of April 1947. The employment records make reference to workers' compensation payments associated with his wooden leg. During his life, Cecil reportedly had many wooden legs with shoes. In 1946, the family were recorded as residing at 22 Saxon Street, Campsie, with Cecil's son, Alan, who was a fitter and turner at the time. On the 5th of May 1949, his mother, Isabella, died, and on the Sydney Morning Herald on the 26th of May 1949, there is a probate notice naming Cecil and his brother Lewis as executors of the estate. Cecil and Laura remained living at 22 Saxon Belfield. In 1951, at age 60 years, Cecil retired from the railways and his father, Henry, passed. He and Laura remained living at 22 Saxon Street, Belfield, until their deaths. Laura died on 9 July 1977, and Cecil died just over a year later on 4 August 1978, aged 88 years. Both were alive when I was born. If you have any other further documents or information about Cecil, let me know. This document was created for family members who can't access Ancestry.com, so it does contain reproduced documents from other sources, including the internet, and direct quotes.